green glow charts in rows. TradeFly moves when the whole thing slows. Candle by candle, he reads the storm. One eye on the market, one on the swarm. He hit the bid like a clean skydive. Puts on the table, then he keeps it alive. Not luck, nah, he got that nerve. Every red day still curves his curve. Fuel in the veins, steel in the spine. He snags the weekend, leaves no sign. Broker talk, he don't need none. He already know where the damage come from. Lock in, hands on the wheel. He hears that drift, he sees what's real. TradeFly cuts through the noise. One sharp move and the whole room boys. TradeFly, TradeFly,
Take the sky.
TradeFly, never blinks, never lies. TradeFly, TradeFly,
Watch him ride.
TradeFly, best in the game by design. TradeFly, TradeFly,
Hold that line.
TradeFly, tailwind sharp, all mine. TradeFly, TradeFly,
Burn through night.
TradeFly, trader and pilot built for flight.
He in the cockpit with the map and the plan. Numbers on the left, altitude in hand. If the base moves fast, he moves faster. He's the whole board like a flight disaster. He shorted the fear, went long on nerve. Took that hit, then he kept the curve. Enemy red, but the sky stayed blue. He banged through pressure like he always do. At the desk, he a ghost in the glow. At the front line, he a calm tornado. He don't chase, he arrive. Turned a bad setup to a perfect drive.
Lock in, no room for doubt. He cuts one lane and clears it out. TradeFly, hear that name. One clean strike and the wrist got tang. TradeFly,
TradeFly, take the sky.
TradeFly, never blinks, never lies. TradeFly,
TradeFly, watch him ride.
TradeFly, best in the game by design. TradeFly,
TradeFly, hold that line.
TradeFly, tailwind sharp, all mine. TradeFly,
TradeFly, burn through night.
TradeFly, trader and pilot built for flight. Radar on mute, mind on point. He don't fold when the pressure joint. One more push, one more run. Then he snaps that wing into the sun. TradeFly,
TradeFly, take the sky.
TradeFly, never blinks, never lies. TradeFly,
TradeFly, watch him ride.
TradeFly, best in the game by design. TradeFly,
TradeFly, hold that line.
TradeFly, tailwind sharp, all mine. TradeFly,
TradeFly, burn through night.
TradeFly, trader and pilot built for flight.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. My name is TradeFly, bringing you some of the most important market news as well as technical analysis that you can actually use. And Bitcoin is hitting a very important level right now. We're actually sitting at a pretty key level. I might get my butt whooped on a trade. So we're going to look at that. I may have entered a little bit early. Right now, we're pretty close to my entry, but it did actually break out and retest a level that I was looking at personally. So I am in a trade right now. We'll take a look. We'll talk about why I entered, and we'll kind of go through that process. But here nor there, let's say what's up to the homies. Oh man, I didn't even update the chat. Hold on real quick. Let me pop out the chat real quick so I can say what's up to everybody that's in the chat here. And here we go. Of course, we got the lovely Alexandra G in the house. What up to you, lady? She is the best mod in all the space. If you don't know, you should know. And we got my man Crypto Squid. So what up to you? Hope all is well. And let's go ahead and get this party started. We got UB. That is upside down. That is down 30% on the day. Beat is getting beat up again, 18.6% to the negative. ETHFi is down 8.7%, and Hash is down 15.4%. Pump is up 5.9%, but that is probably your biggest mover in the top 100 right now. Total market cap is at 2.19 trillion. That is up 0.27%. Fear and Greed Index is at 37, which is in fear. Bitcoin is at 64,265, and that is up 0.7% over the last 24 hours. Ethereum is at 1873, and that is up 0.31% over the last 24 hours. Let's go over to our next segment, and that is going to be the Daily Degen. All right, here we go. So you can see I am a little upside down in a trade right now. Nothing too crazy, down a whopping $43, but not looking all that good. So what was I looking at? And let's talk about it. I know I don't really do a lot of TA, but we're kind of here. So I was looking at this level right here. There was a passive order sitting on the book at 64.2. We saw a nice wick up, clearing the liquidity, and then a sharp move to the downside, which showed me that some selling pressure was coming in. So I went ahead and jumped on it once it got below. That was a little aggressive, though. I didn't let that play out. So that could end up putting me upside down in a trade. We'll see. I was a little quick to pull the gun there. I did see descending CVD as well as open interest, if I remember correctly. But it is what it is, my friends. All right, let's go ahead and do the daily Degen. The way this works, I give you guys, the audience, opportunity to vote whether we go long or short. And we just put, we put 5 on it. You know how we roll. That being said, let's see what you guys are at right now. What do we got? We got 75% doom. So you guys are looking for the short. All right. It is what you asked for. You shall ask, or you ask and you shall receive. There you go. There's words. I got them. They're in there. So we got 5 on it. Let's, you guys want to go, let's not get too crazy. Actually, you know what? We can leave it at 40. It's only $5. It's only $5. Let's have some fun. Again, it's the daily Degen. This is for fun, and it's only $5. So there you go. We're, I guess, adding to the short. That might, let me see. That might actually just add to the short. Yeah. Whoops. Oh, well. Is what it is. You know what? We'll just have to follow this one. Is what it is. Yeah. We're in there. Kind of. We're in there because we've been in there. All right. There you go. Let's go over to the liquidation heat map. So this is what another thing that I was looking at. So why was I looking at that area around 64.2, 64.3? Well, right here. You can see where there was liquidity. This is the liquidation. So there's a nice hot spot where people would get liquidated. That I like to see align with the actual liquidity. And when I talk about that, in this terms, I'm talking about the passive orders as well, right? So you have liquidations and you also have passive orders kind of aligning. We were getting a nice descending CVD, right? So CVD looked like it was kind of working its way down. Open interest kind of working its way down, kind of expected to see here. However, why am I a little nervous about being in this one? Well, I'm a little nervous because we broke through those passive orders, right? Drove through with some, I'll say with a little authority, right? I won't call it a completely, I won't say impulse move. But, on the lower time frames, the 5 minute, yeah, we broke through with a little bit of conviction there. And then we came back down and retested it. And this right here is, this is the scary point for me. So yes, I'm going to put the stop loss right there above the wicks there. If it does push back up to revisit that zone, I'm out. And that is what it is. Let me see. What would I actually be out on that one? Let's see. About $84. So nothing too crazy. If it does push down, which I'm going to say the odds are not in my favor right now. But if it does push down, I will be respecting a VWAP that we have right there, staying above that, and then staying above some of the horizontals that we have. So somewhere around 63.9. I may update that a little bit higher, 64. I think we have the orb down there as well. So keeping an eye on that one. But yeah, right now, upside down. Hey, gotta be transparent. Gotta be transparent. That is the name of the game here. So let's go over back to the liquidation heat map. So we talked a little bit about why I was looking at that area, and really it's just basically the liquidity, right? So top side, we're in it, all up in it. And then to the bottom side, you're looking at about 63,280. So we will mark that on the charts as well. But here, let's look at kind of a top down. Top down, you can see trend is very clearly lower highs, lower lows, sending its way down. Now, this one was a little bit less aggressive than this one, right? You see that move down. You can see the spread between the ranges. This one, less spread, right? This one moved back up and actually retested the value area low as well as the POC. Something to take note of there. We have tested the previous week high. Or correction, you know what? The previous week high, we have not retested. We actually retested this high here to the left, which probably was the previous week high until this high, right? It resets. You got to understand that. In terms of looking at the Trend Reaper, right? So just kind of looking at the momentum right now. The momentum is actually pushing to the upside a little bit, and you can see that as you see a series of lower highs, or correction, higher lows. Backwards there. Dyslexia, it happens. But you are getting over a key level if we go down to the 4 hour. And I was kind of mentioning this, or I did mention this on X, right? I took a short off of this yesterday. So I got about $300 or so on a short that I took. And it was a pretty quick play. And what I was looking at really was kind of the structure, right? Series of lower highs. You're retesting the POC. You had a high volume area node, and you had a nice little rejection out of that area. So I was in, out, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Moving on to the next one. So I did take a nice little win last night. However, we did break through that area. So this is good. If you're looking for some bullish momentum, right here in the near term, the opportunity is there. The door is open, okay? Open for business because you are getting past the POC, the high volume node. And if you get some closes, as you get some subsequent closes there, that's going to be good news. You also see how the moving average is tacked to the top, all right? So that is showing some bullishness as well. I think it's very realistic if you're just looking at the chart, very realistic to see a move up to about 65K. I think that is well within reason. And that's essentially where, one, you have horizontals, and then you have the value area high. I think that is very, very much on the table here in the short term, and I will be keeping my eye on that. Now, it is a bit of a war zone in here, okay? So right now, it is still a lower high, so you need to understand that. We have not really broken. Yes, I had the trend line here, but we really haven't broken, right? We haven't set a higher high yet, okay? So not true. I wouldn't say a true change of character yet, so just be careful. Understand you are in an order block. You do have the value area high. You do have resistance overhead, previous week high, yada, yada, yada. There's still a lot over top of you. So be careful with longs, is what I'll say right here. But the opportunity is there to see a little bit of upside for sure. Okay, so what turns me bullish in this range, right? So we have the range kind of developing. When do I get a little bit more bullish in terms of, hey, I would say, my bias would be a little bit more skewed towards longs? Well, that's when we start getting above these two highs here, right? You can see a rejection, right around 67K. That is something I have been adamantly keeping my eye on. Why? Because we know we have liquidity up there. We see it on the charts, and we see it. We can actually see it on the liquidation heat map as well. So around 67.5 was the hot spot. If you zoom out, I think it's about the 3-week and larger. You start seeing the liquidity, and the bulk of liquidity would actually be up here to the top side about 67.5. So what makes me more bullish is breaking this, okay? Breaking about 67.5, but you were going to want to see an impulse move to the upside, right? So you want to see some conviction. You want to see a big body candle through that zone with a little retest of the horizontal levels, right? The horizontal levels of resistance, right? You would love to see that. And then you go over to something like one of the terminals, and you want to see open interest and CVD kind of aligning with that narrative. What do I mean by that? Well, you're going to want to look at open interest and CVD. Now, this is the 5 minutes, so don't get too wrapped around that. But generally, what you're going to want to see, all right, is you're going to want to see the CVD working its way up, right? That's telling you that the longs are more aggressive, and you'll want to see the open interest working its way up, which means that there's more market participation helping you kind of drive that narrative, right? So you would like to see that. If you get that breakout of about $67,000, that's going to help you feel better about taking a position and that really a continuation type trade. Or if you're just in and you're just chilling, it'll make you feel a lot better about seeing some potential upside. Now, one of the things that you need to be careful of, we'll go to the 5-day here. One of the things you got to be careful of, if you were to break 67, right, is you start looking at the previous month high. You start looking at the moving averages, and you see how this on the 5-day, the structure is kind of respecting the moving average. All right, this is a Trend Reaper moving average, proprietary, but it closely aligns with the 55 EMA. All right, it's pretty close. So you have a little confluence there in terms of, hey, you got a high volume node, you got a previous month high, and you have the moving average working its way down. If you break that, we're going to feel mo better. All right, we're going to feel mo better. But for now, if you're just breaking 67, keep this in mind. Keep an eye on it, because it's likely to give you an initial reaction or a rejection from that level. I'd say the probability is more likely that if you push up to those levels, I would generally be looking for a short out of that level or closing a position if I was in a long. Take it for what it's worth. All right. Personal thing. That's kind of the way I would be approaching that, and I would be looking at it, because the structure right now is showing you that. And my friends, I am not big on fighting the structure. If that is what it shows me, I stay within that. I respect that. And that is usually, I have a little more success with that. All right, I see some homies dropping in the chat here. I'm going to say what's up because you guys got this thing moving. Sorry if I'm not able to keep up with what you're actually saying. We got DDT in the house reporting for duty. What up to you, bro? Good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. We got all set. Say, pop it. You know it. I got a song for you, bro. There you go. There you go. We got LBC in the house. What up? He said that's why I like Blowfin's new multi-position mode. BitUnix has it as well. They have it as well. I just I don't know if 2-Bit does, but BitUnix definitely does. So they have it. LevX has it. A bunch of them do. Just not my deals are with those two exchanges. So just gotta rock with them, bro. Lean with it, rock with it. Let's see who else we got. Multi-position is why I scalp on weeks. Yeah. Nah, it's cool, man. The multi-position is dope. Let's see. Andrea's in the house. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Talking about the golden pocket, you know it. Scrolling down. We got Dr. Goat. Gold tooth in my smile. Got to keep me out the ghetto, but I'm still buck wild. What up, dude? Good to see you. Much love to you, man. Good to be in here. Good to see you in here. The AVAT stock I told you about is looking super bullish long term right now. Right on, dude. We'll have to check that out. We got Arch Sports in the house as well. All right, cool. Whoa, almost missed one. The lovely Wick's wife. Sorry. All right, hopefully I got everybody in the chat. So, what I was talking about, staying within structure, right? If you're taking positions, for me as a trader, right? Remember, as a trader, if I'm taking positions, I want to stay within the structure of the move. Okay, that's personally my take, and like I said, I've found a lot more success with that. Okay, so USDT dominance, we did talk a little bit about that, right? Overall, okay, you can see kind of this bullish momentum here. One of the things we are ultimately looking for USDT dominance is for it to make its way down to the previous month low, test the moving averages, test the order block, about 7.5% or so would be pretty sweet. But that being said, right, we got some interim support that's kind of holding up right now, and that we outlined. You see this little purple box right here? I know I got a bunch of junk on here. But that being said, let's get rid of that. This little purple box, we talked about it. I believe we talked about it last week. All right, seeing a move down here and finding some support there, kind of, in term, right? On the near term, made a lot of sense. See a little bounce out of that area. And then ultimately, this is kind of decision time. So you need to understand the inverse correlation of USDT dominance as well as Bitcoin. So if we were to see a rejection from these levels, right, it still can push up just a little bit. But if we see a rejection from these levels, what does that mean for Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin shall go up. All right, so we could get a really nice move. If you ultimately get a rejection from these levels at about 8.5, 8.6, and then it works its way down, that would be dope. But then if we subsequently fall through these levels, about 8.1, 8.2, if we fall through those levels, man, that's going to be really nice for Bitcoin. But then it's a matter of finding, where do you have that confluence between the two charts? And if you're in a position, is it time to think about getting out? And if you're not in a position, is it time to think about getting in? Right? That's kind of how you can use these charts to help you build a little bit of confluence between the two assets. All right, so let's go back to Biddy, sitting at 299. Yep, upside down to that one, kicking my ass. That's all right. That's all good. You can't win them all, fam. I think it was a little silly once we kind of I had a little breakout. I'm not huge on breakouts, but I don't know. Hindsight, I probably shouldn't have jumped on that one, but man, I saw that wick, and before the move really happened, I saw the CVD trending down. So, I guess dodos like me get faked out sometimes too. It is what it is. Refresh now. All right, refresh. Give me the good stuff. Give me the new stuff. Market monkey. Let's see. Yeah, man, that's tough, man. Sending level support off of that retest. We got to break that. We got to break that. If for me, like I said, I got in a short, so it might have been a little quick. On that one. Let's see what CVD is doing. CVD is kind of going horizontal. Open interest is going up a little bit. Would love to see open interest go up. Would love to see it go up, right? More of an angle to the upside, and then CVD start to go down. That would make me feel way more better about the position I'm in right now, but, is what it is. We still in the... Yeah, we're still in this one. Yep. It looks real ugly, but you gotta understand when I got into it, that's all I saw right there. Right? So, having the benefit of hindsight, once I saw that wick and we kind of went back down, I was a little aggressive. I should have let it close a little bit further down into the range. But it is what it is. Aggressive. All right. Let's look at something else. Let's see. Breakout or decline. All right. Sweet. Let's look at ETH real quick. Arch, good day to you. Good day to you. All right, looking at Ethereum. We talked a little bit about that. Oh, this is real zoomed out. This is the 5-day. Obviously, overall structure, bearish. But once you go down to some lower time frames, there's some hopium here and there. Let's see. Now, we did talk about these levels right here. This order block specifically on Ethereum. All right. Ethereum actually on the 4-hour looks better than Bitcoin. Why? Because it developed a range right here, right? So between, we'll just say 1500 to about 1850 or so. It developed a nice little range there, but then it broke out. And you had a nice move to the upside, right? There's a nice big body candle, close to the upside, retested the levels, the horizontal levels at about 1850. All right, had that retest, and then look, it's maintained that range above that zone now. Let's go ahead and make this fixed range volume profile. Let's extend it to incorporate the entirety of the new range, right? It's established a new range above. So right now, it's still holding strong for Ethereum. Now, I would argue that right now, a series of lower highs and lower lows starting on Sunday. All right, so kind of going back to Sunday, you can see, little lackluster in terms of some follow through, right? It hasn't really pogoed back and forth too much in the range since then. It's really just kind of been going down since Sunday, really. But that being said, if Biddy can stop acting shitty, then Ethereum has the potential to definitely make a nice move to the upside now that it's kind of established that range above. All right, so keep your eye on that. In terms of trade opportunities, you're really going to have to watch Bitcoin, I think, right? Because the divergence is gone, right? This divergence already happened. Now it's kind of establishing a range. But taking a play up potentially, right? I think that's kind of, you might have missed the boat here. You might have missed the boat, to be honest, right? Because we talked about this down here, and we were looking at a play that was more aligned with the value area low, and really just taking it up to the value area high is really what we were looking at. So, yeah, 2-to-1 was there for sure. I don't know that I'd be able to. Let's look at this. You could look at a breakout retest of the moving average. Let's see. Let's pull this up to the POC. I mean, there's still, I guess, some Degen-ish type play there. I don't know that I'd be super excited about it, but if you get a little breakout retest, get a rejection off that weekly, come back down, retest the highs right here, kind of not the highs, but like where we're at currently, because you can see very clear resistance from a horizontal. Let's get rid of this, just cloud it up. You can see very clear resistance right here at 1870, 1880. Super clear, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times. It's trying. It wants to break. So if you can work your way up, probably see a rejection off the weekly, and then make its move, right? So you're looking for the retest here. That would be the jam, right? Because you're probably going to see a rejection the first time you test that weekly. It may take more than one. It may take 3, times to try to push through that weekly. But again, you want to look at Bitcoin for confluence in terms of, do we have the opportunity to even make that move to the upside? Right now, Trend Reaper looking bullish. That is on the 4-hour. You can see higher highs, higher lows in terms of the momentum. So like the opportunity is there. Opportunity is there. I don't, it's a little bit more Degen-y than I would like, a little bit more risky. But if you guys are into trading Ethereum, then, that could be a potential opportunity to look for. Let's see. Just taking a look-see. If you were to lose this area of support, let's see. We have a short available. That's kind of tough. The problem, so when you reestablish above a previous range, especially if you move with any kind of aggressiveness, you start finding yourself with a couple levels of support underneath of you. So, I mean, now you have previous week low, not a big deal. You got the monthly pivot, and you got a couple order blocks underneath of you, as well as some zones that you could find even here. You could find some support there, but you do have the value area high, and there's kind of a gap there. You're looking at that. That's kind of far out, though. I don't know that I would get too excited about looking for something, but if you do, for whatever reason, get below this value area high, I'm not saying it's going there, so let's just be freaking ultra clear there. Ultra clear that I'm not saying it's going there, but if it does go there, if it does lose this level at about 1704, there could be an opportunity there, about a 7% move down to the POC. But at that point, the market's going to be looking pretty yucky for us to get there. Let's see if we break the range to the high side. Let's start looking at what we got going on the daily. Obviously, POC. Impulse move to the downside, previous week high. And that aligns with the value area low. So just looking where liquidity is. You know you got some liquidity there. But I don't know. I mean, you could try to make a play from the value area high up to the POC, understanding that you're going to have resistance here. Let's fix this real quick. Get yourself below the POC. You might even be able to squeak below. Yeah, you can even get under that moving average. That moving average is going to move up as price action moves up. So that could be a potential opportunity. Honestly, the thing that I don't like is you are going to have to fight. You're going to have resistance right overhead. So, I mean, that could very much be a thing where you're looking at a 1-to-1, right? And if you break that level, right, you can manage a trade too. If you break that level, which is the previous week high, I believe, previous week high. So if you break that level, the previous week high, what do I mean by that? If you were to break, then you just slide your stop loss up. Let's say you break, boom. So what am I talking about? Like as soon as this breaks, as soon as this happens, I'm taking my stop loss and I'm going boop and just bringing it up and playing on house money. So you could TP, take your initial investment out. Once you get up to that level, there's different ways to kind of manage the trade. Up to you. Or you just take your stop loss and move it to entry, or I like to put it a little bit above. Because, I mean, if you fall back within the zone, probability is you come back to pretty much where you started. You kind of round trip it. So I've gotten into the habit of just locking in a little bit of profit, which is what I did yesterday. Just locked in a little bit of profit. And ended up with, a few $100 once fees and stuff hit. So nothing too crazy, but there's definitely different ways, and risk management is a big piece of it if you're really trying to trade here. See what you got going on here. Looks like you're talking about a breakout. I don't do those. Those are not designed for you to win, man. I've stayed away from them. Rules are designed to not be user friendly either, so. Everybody's like, oh, they've gotten better. Whatever. I just don't do the prop firms. That's just not my thing. Let's look at gold. I haven't looked at gold.
Love gold.
Been a while. Okay, so I do remember talking about this I think it was probably last week since the last time we revisited it or talked about it. But this channel right here has just been absurd, right? It's having a really, really hard time getting to that channel. And what this is, it was not like me projecting of where we're going. It's like, hey, if we do get a breakout, all right, if we see a breakout, if we can finally get out of this nonsense, right? Get above all of this resistance, right? Because you have the previous week high, the previous month high, the quarterly pivot, right? Notice how this was kind of around the quarterly pivot, as well as you have some volume there. But you really want to get over the moving average, the channel, and you really want to just break out of this with a little bit of conviction, right? So breakout, retest, continuation is what I would look for there. There's a small bit of hopium right now, as you see the price action starting to go horizontal. There's some hopium to actually get that breakout, but it is very much up in the air. This isn't something that I'd really be super excited about taking a long or a short on at present position, because you really don't know which way this thing's going to go, right? It hasn't given you a clear sign. The only sign that you have right now is that you've come into this horizontal level of price action, or this movement of price action, from top to top down, right? So that would lend you to be like, hey, the pressure right now is probably more to the downside than the upside. And you just have too much above you. There's just too much. Monthly pivot, high volume node is right there. I couldn't personally take a long right where we're at. I would have to wait for some more substantial movement. And if you're like, oh, well, that's pretty far away and it's, it's a big percentage, from here to there, that's cool. I mean, but look what it does. Look what it does on the way up. Look what it does on the way down, right? It can make those moves. So there's something to be said about, being a little patient. For gold, that's one of those times I think that I would be. Let's look at MicroStrategy. That has gotten its butt just bait. Not here to talk about them selling. Don't really care about that. We are just looking at the chart. You are in the platinum pocket right now on the daily. Really, that is pulled from extreme low to high. All right, so that's a huge Fibonacci retracement. And you've even fallen through your sell side liquidity. That's tough. That is not a good look. That is not a good look. You got a nice bounce off the 0.786. You even dipped your toes into the liquidity, right? Right here, this happened. That was there. You dipped your toes in the liquidity. You bounced out of the platinum pocket, right? So you showed a little bit of hopium, and then poof, shot in the face, down 100%. Or 50%, sorry. All right, so like, sheesh, that's just nasty. That is nasty. Yeah, that's not something I could say. Like if you were taking a flyer down here at the 0.786, I got you. I understand that. But actually this looks like it's just dumping it on your face, man, coming up. A little bit. I don't know if manipulation is the right word, but I don't know. Where would I think about it? You got to get back over the 0.786. There's no way around it. Yes, I understand. Again, it's far away, but my job is to be conservative, and biggest thing for me is protect your money, protect your capital. You guys are watching me, right? And if you're watching me, you're probably, some of you, not all of you, but someone out there could be listening to me and following me, right? I can't say this, taking my advice, because it's not, I can't give you advice. That's not legal. But I am here talking about, what the way I perceive it, the way I look at it. And for me, I'd have to be over 125. But anyways, I'm very cognizant of that, you guys, so you know. I bothers me very, very much that anybody could lose money based on something that comes out of my mouth. That is something I am very, very cognizant of. But I don't do a lot of deals either. Let's see here. Let's look at Tesla. Look at TQQ ripping. All right, Tesla. Okay, 275 is where I was interested. You are getting back above the golden pocket, right? We kind of talked about that. Two ways to kind of approach this. One, you could take this, right? Move it up, get out, break out, retest, continuation. So this didn't happen, right? It didn't go down to 275. So what do? Okay, well, this is now on the table, right? Come down, retest this level at about 311, and then look for the move to the upside. Now, I don't know that I'd necessarily look for going all the way up to the 0.5, which is not super applicable in this context, but just understanding where that's pulled from. Why do I have overlapping? That's just silly. Absolute silliness. All right, so looking for a move up to the monthly pivot as well as the previous value area high, as well as this swing low, right? That there's a price reaction there, and that's something that you have to take into consideration when you're looking at jumping in a trade, right? Was there a price reaction at a particular level? And in this case, yes. All right, so looking for a move between your pretty much your previous week high up to the monthly pivot, very much in play. This is, for me, probably where the fun would be done, and I would look for something a little bit more like this. And I would extend out this trend line right here, right? This descending level of resistance. And I would stay within that. So what do I say about respecting the structure, right? Now we're coming back to that. And again, if that presents itself, or if we start making that move to the upside, that is where I stay within, right? I don't try to fight that. Bananas. All right, who else we got in here? We got my man French Toaster in the house. What up to you, bro? Strategy selling is just a narrative. I agree with Piper. It's more bullish for Bitcoin if strategy does sell. Look, I don't want to get into that aspect of, is it a good thing, is it a bad thing? Like they're doing it for a reason. It's so that they can pay, so they can have cash reserves and that they can pay their dividends. Like it's part of their strategy, right? Like they're trying to pay the dividends, like I think to the preferred like stockholders or something like that, or preferred investors or something along those lines. Like there's a reason for it, and it's a very, like, when it comes down to it, it's a small piece of what they own. It really is. And this is why, damn you LBC for getting me on this like tangent, but this is why I was scared of investing in strategy in particular, because it is a business. It is a company, right? And this business was not created to hold Bitcoin. It wasn't created for that. It's morphed into that, right? Like it's morphed into that being their strategy, but like there's still a company that's underlying with just them holding that asset. There's more to this. It's not just a company that holds Bitcoin and that's it, right? That's their whole jam. That's their whole actual strategy. It's not, because that company already existed. There's bylaws. There's people that are invested. They raise capital. There's so much more to it. There's a figurehead. There's a CEO. All of these things are variables that you can't control, which doesn't directly correlate to the price action of Bitcoin. So if you're investing in strategy, like, it's kind of silly. Why not just get an ETF? If you want to be invested in Bitcoin, just get an ETF. Find one of the 3x leverage plays and just invest in an ETF. Because your 3x leverage play ain't no damn different. If you want to get, that's what they say, I use strategy as a leverage play on Bitcoin. Like, then get a leveraged ETF, silly. Invest in the actual asset, because it at least correlates to the price action. Anyways, all right, I'm done. Here we go. On to the next. So Tesla, yeah, there's opportunity from about 311 up to the monthly pivot. Let's look at NVIDIA. Oh yeah, man, there was a couple good calls I had. You guys are sleeping. We'll pump TradeFly's ego real quick, or stroke his ego. All right, I gave you this one a couple weeks ago. No, it had not gone down here yet. Like, we were looking at it when it was up here, and dude, this played out beautifully. All right, don't worry about the previous week low. That wasn't there when I actually posted this. What was there though was the top of the range. You had liquidity, as well as you had your value area high and the golden pocket, right? Golden pocket on stocks is freaking fire. Now, did it continue to go up? Could you have made more? Absolutely. Conservative play, though, was a 4.36% move to the upside from this level. You got it. It's a really, really nice call out there that we had for NVIDIA. And that was only on this show. Wasn't in the Discord. Didn't post it anywhere else. It was only on this show. So, like and subscribe, fam. I give you things for free. All right. So that was a nice call that we had on NVIDIA. Looking at that now, we are kind of getting to the top, right? You got the value higher. Let's go ahead and extend that out just a little bit. So you are at the value high. You're dipping your toes into buy side liquidity, as well as the previous month high. This is now where you start trying to figure out is if you're going to continue staying in this range. Can you just watch this thing go back and forth in this range? Maybe. It is a definitive possibility. It does stay in the range for a little while. We've seen that before, right? Stayed in this range for quite some time. What's that? July to March. That's a long time. You know, do we see something like that again? I don't know that I necessarily like where the value area low is on this. I mean, I would be looking down here. If I was going to look at this range and I was looking at trading it, down here is where, so when I say down here, for those that are just listening, around 190 to about 193 is an area I would be looking for on the lower side. And then we're right there right now in terms of the top side, around 212 up to, yeah, about we'll say 210 to about 214 or so. So you're kind of getting to the top side of that range. And if you break that, then you look for the retest continuation. Retest continuation. How high it goes, I don't know. Because you're getting straight into an order block. And you're getting, you're getting pretty high up there in terms of where we've been before in terms of price action. I don't know what the narrative is behind NVIDIA right now. Haven't seen any earnings call. Haven't really done a lot of research on them. So, DYOR on that one. What was the other call I had I believe it was last week, that played out pretty well. I think it was Coin. Had a really good call on Coin as well. Same deal. It's pretty similar setup. Let's see here. We'll find it. Again, it was only on this show. I didn't put it anywhere else. Yeah, same deal. There you go. Same kind of deal. Gave you the entry right there, and that was basically in the liquidity, right? You had some sell side liquidity down there, right? Previous bounce. Why not come on down and do it again, but stay below kind of these lows, right? Stay below those lows. So that was a nice little call. That was a 3-to-1, 10% move. 10% move, man. All right, let's look at Coin a little bit more. Don't even need leverage. Yeah, that one though, like, honestly, like, that's probably where I would be like, hey, the fun is done. So I'm guessing no one really took that trade, but here nor there. Again, it's about staying within the structure. I mean, there's definitely some potential for some upside there, but I personally wouldn't push it. Would not push it, right? Because look at this. Look at how it's kind of just moved down and moved down. You know, I'm not flirting with that. If we get back above the quarterly pivot and we get above the high and we get above this the moving average here, then cool. Then, you know, you look for some more upside. Then you start looking at revisiting this area right here where you see the next order block, and the lack of volume should make it what is that, your previous month high? That might be tough, but still, like, I would look for something like that. Come down, retest, and then you move up. Stair steps, man. It comes in waves. That's how price action works. So you got a little gap in volume there, but I mean, it's having a plan. And this is how you kind of get ahead of the price action. I don't know that I would have a lot of conviction behind this one, but yeah, 3-to-1's there for sure. I mean, typically I look for a 2-to-1 at a minimum. So that's the potential for another 14% move. And then you're keeping yourself above the volume there, right? This high volume node that kind of sticks out. I mean, really, you could give yourself even more breathing room, to be honest. So that could be your next opportunity on coin. And there's always like this argument of like, hey, like I could have just held it. You think it's going to go up there? I'm not saying it's going to go up there. That's the thing. It could reject right here. It could reject right here. I'm not saying it's going to go up there. It's an if then. So understanding, you know, if it does this, then I look for this, right? That's kind of how I treat some of these setups. And again, very patient with those entries. All right. I heard some ching ching on 2-bit. I think that one closed out. Yep. That's a loser. That is a loser. We put the stop loss above the high there. Womp womp. I'm not surprised by that though. You still had some liquidity above, right for the taking. I mean, you're already here. You're already here. Take it. Why not? It's all right. I got another one on BitUnix that's still open. Let's see. Scroll down a little bit more. Let's look at AVAT. I know. Who was it that was talking about AVAT? Was it Doc? I think it might have been Doc. Okay, so he said it's looking bullish. That's tough. Yes, you had a nice move to the upside here. The thing that you got to be kind of like nervous of is if you go down. Let's look at the lower time frames, right? I mean, there's obviously you're starting to. There's an opportunity. There is an opportunity. However, what you need to be careful of is that you're not getting accumulation into manipulation and then distribution. Right, so that looks terrible because I'm so zoomed in. If this makes it look a little better. All right, so you get that accumulation and then it pushes up. All right, that's the manipulation, and then you get the distribution, ultimately pushing you back down into the range and even potentially further. Now, do you need a example? Let me show you an example of that. All right, this is commonly referred to as PO3. Geo is really big on those. But let's zoom out and see some examples of that. Right here is a perfect one. So same kind of deal, right? You have the accumulation, right, in this range. Bouncing back and forth, bouncing back and forth, bounce back and forth. Ultimately goes up. And then distribution. Now, the play is, when you're looking at one of these, the play is, you look for this, really? Get rid of that real quick. You look for this, right? The manipulation. And then you look for the distribution. So the play is when you get back into the range, right? See this impulse move down right here? Impulse move, retest, and then the play is taking that short down. Now it's a matter of where you're going to get out, right? Like if you were to put a fixed range volume profile on it, do you take it down to the POC? Do you take it down to the lows? Kind of up to you on how you want to play the game. Are you scalping? Are you intraday? All of that stuff will affect what you're looking at. But again, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. That would be my fear right there for AVAT. I mean, 14% move in the last 24 hours is dope. But I don't know. Just be careful. What I'll say there. Be very careful. I've seen assets like that move, 14% of the day, and then next day they're down 30%. So be careful. If you don't maintain above, these levels at about 0.34, 0.35 or so, you want to stay above that. And if you stay above that, then yeah, there's some hopium. I mean, start developing a little range above, right? And then you start looking for that stair step up. But if you're trying to take a trade on that, a little bit tough in terms of where I would try to take that. You get your monthly pivot here. I just don't know that that's much of a factor, because this was aggressive down. I'm probably looking really to align with here. So taking into account that wick. There you go. So about 45 cents. What does that leave you with if you're trading? Let's say you get in somewhere around current levels. Do not know why I got so aggressive with the that box. That's crazy. Let's adjust this a little bit more. And again, we talked about staying above at minimum that previous week high. But there's definitely potential for a 3-to-1. No leverage. And upwards of, we'll say 20% move. 10% if you want to just go to the monthly. It's not something I trade though, personally. But it's crazy that something that's on the NASDAQ, you're looking at this with the potential for a 20% move. That's kind of wild, right? No leverage. No leverage at all. That's crazy. Alrighty. Let's see. 12:53. What time did I start this? 12? Looks like the chat is dying off. I think I lost my energy, man. Usually I'm a little bit more upbeat. I think I've lost my energy. Let's see here. Let's take a look back at Biddy. Ain't really done much, to be honest. Yeah, one more little push up. Let's go down to the 5-minute. See, this could be one more little grab of liquidity here and then push down. You got your orb. I wouldn't worry too much about the moving average there. Orb is at about 64. That's the opening range breakout if you guys aren't familiar with that. But yeah, man, I still kind of like the zone down here. Let's put a Fibonacci retracement on it from this wick on up, and that takes you down to the 0.786. Big fan of the 0.786. You guys don't know, and yeah, that takes you right about where I was looking at, about 63.9, about 64. But right now, you got support at the 0.382. It's holding. So as long as you're holding that, man, you're looking okay. If you're looking at longs or you're looking at, Bitcoin to continue some momentum to the upside, holding above about 64.1 or so is going to be a good sign for you, right? Just looking at where you had liquidity, where the top of the range was, ultimately before pushing through. How can you get a good idea that might push through? I mean, look at this, man. Ascending level of support going into a horizontal level of resistance. Pressure was clearly building to the upside. Clearly building to the upside. Right? Now it's just a matter of, can it hold? Let's see. Looking at the Trend Reaper on the 5 minute here. It's losing a little bit of momentum on the 5 minute at least. But that's a momentum oscillator. I wouldn't get too wrapped around it. Cool. All right. Well, it looks like I done scared away half the chat. Let's see what Cardano's doing real quick. Like I said, I got a little baggy. It's holding. Go to 4 hour. Could be worse. That's not bad. Pushed up to your previous month high. Got a rejection at 20 cents. Not surprised by that, but you're staying over your quarterly pivot. And you're staying over, you're on the top side of the range at least. Understanding that there is definitely going to be resistance right there. Geo, appreciate that, man. Definitely appreciate that. You're staying over the quarterly, the previous week high, all of that is good. You lose that, then you're probably coming back down to the value area high. But where would I be looking at some momentum to the upside? If you break through 20 cents and retest those levels, I think it's very clear. You can kind of see it on the chart right now that is well within play. So we'll bring this up, protect yourself with the quarterly pivot. You could go down as low as the order block if you want it, but really quarterly pivot with this high volume node, that's about how I would protect myself with a stop loss. What are you looking for? You're looking for it to break out, come down, retest, continuation, 15% move, no leverage. That might not be bad. It might not be bad. And that would be a good thing. I know a lot of people, Cardano, are pretty upside down right now, but I definitely expect there to be significant resistance once you start getting up to about 23 to 24 cents. That is where I really anticipate you seeing a rejection. So might be an opportunity to take one up to those levels if we break out, retest, continuation, and then look to flip it, right? So you get that move up and then look for a rejection out of that zone. And then it's a matter of figuring out where we get out, right? And so, if you're kind of like in the middle here of no man's land, right, between these two levels, for it to come back and have a true retest for a second time of the previous month high might be a stretch. So then it's we start looking at the structure of the move. So looking at the structure of the move here, right, like if it's going like this, then that's where you start looking at it and saying, okay, where can I get out? Well, you stay within the structure of the move. And so that would be an important part of this. So you see ultimately that move back down, but you see that the trend, it meets. And when it meets that trend, that short, you'll be out of that a lot quicker than the long. All right, so that short, not saying it's going to be this percentage, I'm just giving you an example. So that could be like a 3.7% move. Just as an example. this trend could look different. It could be more flat. We don't know, but I'm just trying to get ahead of it and kind of talk you through what to look for if you were to see a move like that, take a trade up and then take a short. Like I would be very interested in taking a short from there. I can tell you that right now. Cool. Sweet. I think I'm gonna get out of here. Daily Degen got freaking pooty dootied, but looking okay on my my other short right now. So all Gucci. Let's see what we're doing real quick. Ooh, did you just see that? Saw that passive order jump on there, or a limit order, and then you saw instant price reaction to it. Very interesting. Look at the open interest just dumped. Yeah, DDT, absolutely, bro. Thank you for being here. Much love to you, man. We'll get DDT on here, man. We gotta get him on. This is interesting. But yeah. With that being said, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna get out of here. Sorry for my low energy today. Usually I bring a little bit more hype to it, but yeah, I'm just chilling. I think it's because I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of work to do. I'm back taking those stupid classes for my PME. So it's basically like master's levels classes for the military, and that is wrecking my life. I got to be honest with you. Writing papers and doing all that craziness again, but here nor there, I'm here for you guys, making sure you get the alpha that you deserve. It is all about you. That being said, I am going to bounce, but like and subscribe, right? If you did learn anything, if you got anything from today, I would appreciate a like and subscribe. That would be very helpful for the channel and for me to continue to grow. Just checking that short right now real quick. Looks like I'm up a few $100. Yeah, not too bad. All right, cool. That's the, here, I'll show you guys the short I'm in right now. There you go. Up a few $100. Nothing crazy. But yeah, I'm out of here. Like and subscribe. Love you guys. With that, trade safe. Be safe. I'm out.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yeah, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.